Hello, Watchman of Ephraim, or Rick. This video has to do with Revelation 14 and Matthew chapter 13. The fire of the furnace of fire and the fire of Revelation 14:18. The fire of Revelation 14:18 identifies the fire of the furnace of fire and the lake of fire. Now, I haven't done a video in a while. I got to get back into this. So I'm going to be rusty, and as you've heard before, I just threw this up. I guess it's the impulsiveness that's still within me, and I'm just going to kind of talk for the most part. Once again, we have to approach this as a mystery. The fire of the furnace of fire and the fire of, Revelation 18:14 gives it away. We're just going to look at the Greek. I've mentioned it before in other videos. And it also points to the fire at the end of Mark 9, which points back to what? The Torah. We simply have a mysterion, a mystery, a sacred secret, a hidden truth. I do believe I put up the mystery in theology, or mysterion, a hidden reality or secret. More specifically, in the theology of Revelation, a truth that human beings cannot discover except from revelation, and that even after revelation exceeds their comprehension. Mysterion, it means a secret, a sacred secret, a hidden truth that's very hard to figure out. But God, through the Messiah, told you where to go, as I've told you many times before and witnessed. To you it has been given to know the mysteries, the mysterion, the mysteries, the sacred secrets of the kingdom. Matthew chapter 13 and on down to 52, he tells you where to go. Every scribe, every expert in the Torah, who is a disciple of the kingdom, well, there you go, is like a householder who brings forth out of his treasure things old and new. So, in a large way, I don't blame most of humanity for not knowing these things, because they're very difficult to figure out through God. Paul, in 1 Corinthians 4, verse 1, he says, we have been entrusted as stewards. We've been entrusted with the mysteries of God. Wow. How many people really approach it? How many people approach the mysteries of the kingdom as things very hard to figure out? But that's how God made it. But if you just believe what God says, that the Torah is a shadow of the good things to come, well, it's all in there, my friends. Beginning with the priesthood, made up of the barley and the wheat and the grapes. I put the picture up there. There's the Grape Harvest. If I might go down through here, maybe I clicked out of it. Now, here it is at the very end. There's the three harvests once again: the barley, the wheat, and in between, the grapes. The common land people that are coming in the next age, and this fire has to do with them. But Revelation 13, the parable of the wheat and the tares, which involve angels, is kicking you back to the three harvests of the Torah, or the three high feasts, and it's kicking you forward to 1 Corinthians 15 and kicking you forward to Revelation 14. And in Revelation 14:18, the fire's identified, because Revelation 14 is just full of angels and the Son of Man on a cloud with a sickle. Here's the wheat and the tares. Well, I don't know what happened to that picture. It was a picture of two men, one harvesting wheat into the barn. It's just a blank. I don't know what happened to it. Oh, well. Anyways, just going along here. Here's the wheat and the tares, but Matthew 13 kicks you forward to Revelation 14. And the fire of Revelation 14:18, the angel with power over fire, right? The angels will gather the tares and burn them in the fire. Well, anyways, let's just let me get into Matthew 13 here. Parable of the wheat and the tares. Another parable he put forth to them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. The field is the world. And he got that from Torah too. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the grain had sprouted, the wheat, and produced a crop, then the tares also appeared. So the servants of the owner came and said to him, Sir, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then does it have tares? He said to them, An enemy has done this. The servants said to him, Do you want us then to go and gather them up? But he said, No, lest while you gather up the tares, you also uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. There's that word harvest. Talking about the feast of harvest, the feast of first fruits, Pentecost, Shavuot, the wheat harvest. And at that time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, First gather together the tares and bind them in bundles. Who are the reapers? The angels. To burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. The wheat, the first fruits. As I've witnessed many times. Okay, going on here. Parable of the tares explained. They wanted to know the explanation, his disciples. He answered and said to them, He who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The field. Who bought the field? Leviticus 25. The kinsman redeemer. The good seeds are the sons of the kingdom, but the tares are the sons of the wicked one. The enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest, the feast of harvest. Exodus 34. Boy, I forget which verse. Forgive me. At Exodus 34, you'll see it identified, the Feast of Harvest. The end of the age and the reapers, that's how bad my memory is. And the reapers are the angels. Okay, so here, this is pointing forward to all these angels in Revelation 14. Therefore, as the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, So it will be at the end of this age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom all things that offend. What also appears on the earth in Revelation 19 at the end, the lake of fire. What is that the start of? Revelation 19, the beginning of the end of this present age and the beginning of the millennium, which is the Feast of Tabernacles. What is going to go out to the nations, and judgments are going to go out to the nations? The Torah, Isaiah 2, verses 1 through 4, Micah 4, verses 1 through 4. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and those who practice lawlessness. Well, once again, what are we pointing back to? Those that have touched dead bodies, and lepers, and those that have discharges, and will cast them into the furnace of fire. Well, here's that furnace once again. Well, I guess not. I clicked it out or something. I don't know what's going on here. Anyways, must have clicked. I don't know. Let me just click it out. Anyways, cast them into this gruesome furnace. These tares here that look like wheat, they're going to be burned. All right? And cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth, and the righteous will shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. So remember, this is part of the mysteries of the kingdom. And he told you down here in verse 52, every scribe, scholar of the Old Testament, or more, scribes were the experts of the Torah in Jesus' day. They're the ones who interpreted the Torah. So he's tipping you, as Revelation 14 has, it's tipping you back, man, to the Torah. Revelation 14, this is a great chapter, man. Then I looked, and behold, a lamb standing on Mount Zion. A lamb. It's tipping you back to the Torah. The lamb, the kinsman redeemer, who buys the field, the earth, and the treasure hidden in the field, mankind. Standing on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written on their foreheads. So the lamb, well, he was offered up at the time of when? The Passover, right? The time of the barley harvest. So here's the barley harvest. That's Leviticus chapter 23, verses 9 through 13. And with him 144,000, having his Father's name written on their foreheads. Well, you've attained what? What have I said your inheritance is? And you have it now by faith. The firstborn ones. And I heard a voice from heaven like the voice of many waters, and like the voice of loud thunder. And I heard the sound of harpists playing their harps. They sang as it were a new song before the throne, before the four living creatures and the elders. And no one could learn that song except the 144,000 who were what? Redeemed from the earth, right? The kinsman redeemer, redeemed from the earth, redeemed what? From the field. Now they're in the heavenly Jerusalem, Mount Zion. These are the ones who were not defiled with women, who must marry a virgin. Leviticus 21. The laws of the Torah concerning priests and the high priest, who must marry a virgin, for these are virgins He's kicking you back to the Torah. These are the ones who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These were redeemed from among men. Now notice, being first fruits to God and to the Lamb. This is the feast of Shavuot, the wheat harvest. The barley, the wheat. Now we're going to kick in. We're going to go down the line here in Revelation 14 with all these angels. We're going to get into the grape harvest here, coming near the bottom. Let's just skip down. You know, Babylon has fallen. That great city. Well, that kicks you back to Jericho. It's fell flat. I've done videos on that, but I don't want to get too deep into that. Third angel follows them. If anybody this is talking about the actually being tormented or being tested in the presence of the Lamb and the holy angels. That's the crucible where the one who is the refiner has to be in the presence. I will post a video on that about illusions in Revelation. The lake of fire and the second death are illusions. Let's go to verse 14. So you got a bunch of angels here. Then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, just like in Matthew chapter 13. Then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and on the cloud sat one like the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel, this is full of angels, came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him who sat on the cloud, thrust in your sickle and reap, for the time has come. This also ties in with the Day of Atonement. This will be the time of their resurrection, and the trumpet will sound, and the dead in Christ will rise first. That trumpet is the seventh trumpet, the trumpet of Jubilee. At the time, this world and universe of corruption will be given over to the glorious liberty of the children of God, the firstborn ones, the huios ones, that have their Father's name written in their foreheads. God will expand as a family, as I've shown you many times. So he who sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. The wheat, gather the wheat into my barn. I lost that picture. It's a good picture, but anyways. Gather the wheat into my barn. You got to know the Torah. Right? These are the first fruits to God and to the Lamb. Then another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. Now in verse 18, here's where, this is now the grape harvest. Then another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, this is key, who had power over fire. And he cried with a loud cry to him who had the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in your sharp sickle and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. So the angel thrust his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. This wrath can also be translated passion of God. And the winepress was trampled outside the city, and blood came out of the winepress up to the horses' bridles for 1,600 furlongs. All this figurative language to what? I mean, look, the grape harvest. The time, it's over. This is the time of the restitution of all things. The first fruit saints, the priests that are going to reign on the earth, will be given a shepherd's rod of iron. And what is that shepherd's rod of iron? It's the Torah. It will be the time of the grape harvest, the time of the harvest of the common land people. As I have been saying many times before, the Torah, the first 5 books of Moses, are a shadow of the good things to come. The priesthood was never the real thing. Moses was never the real thing. What was in his hands were never the real thing. These Sabbath and feast days were never the real thing. It all comes through him. Deuteronomy 16. Starting in verse 13, you shall observe the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days. What is this time when the grapes are thrown into the great winepress of the wrath of God? Time of the millennium, the time of the Feast of Tabernacles, the time of the great Sabbath rest for 1,000 years. 6,000 years. You shall labor and do all your works of sin. God is teaching. If you can get underneath the doctrines of men, get into the Torah and see these things. The 1,000-year rest, yeah, a lot of people see that, but what about the 6,000 years before that? 6,000 years shall you labor and do all your work. God's allowing man to go his own way to learn that sin does not work. When you create a being instantly, you can't create character in that person. You shall observe the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days when you have gathered from your what? Your threshing floor, your granaries, the barley and the wheat, and from your wine press. You can see this points forward to Matthew 13. It points forward to Revelation 14. You need a priesthood first, right? And the grapes are trampled outside the city, the common people of the land. Going to be put under the feet of Messiah and you. All enemies put under his feet. Ezekiel chapter 30. I forget which verse. I'm just paraphrasing, with power and an outstretched arm. I know that's probably not the proper, and with wrath poured out, I will rule over you. Talking about the lost sheep. Oh, that's coming. I will rule over you. They will fulfill with what the type, the common land people, couldn't. The first time around, they were only types. And the type always falls short. The anti-type will succeed. It was never the real thing to begin with. Trampled outside the city, under your feet. Oh, yeah, there's going to be a lot of death initially. Yeah, I just enlarged that. Initially, there's going to be a lot of death when he comes back, right? He's going to vaporize people. Zechariah 14. But when all the system gets set up, three times a year all your males shall appear before Yahweh your God in the place which he chooses. Right? The three appointed feasts, the three times that men will have the uncircumcision of their flesh circumcised off them. The spring, the barley and the wheat, or the barley, the summer, or late spring, early summer, the wheat, and in the fall, the grapes, the wine vat. These are mysteries, sacred secrets. Going back, notice the fire. Verse 18, and another angel came out from the altar, came out from the what? Altar. When we get into the Greek here, we can identify the altar. This is the temple in heaven. Who had power over fire. So we see the harvests, right? We see the wheat in chapter 13. We see the Messiah gathering the wheat into his barn, the barley, the wheat. The field is the world. It's the end of the age, the beginning of the millennium, the Feast of Tabernacles. We have these tares thrown into the furnace of fire. Who has the power over fire? And where does it come out from? It comes out from the altar. Well, let's just take a look at the Greek here. Well, anyways, the furnace. Well, let me just lay off that for right now. Don't tell me I clicked out the right here. Okay, so this Greek word here, phonetic spelling, thusiasterion. Notice an altar. Notice for sacrifice. So what altar are we talking about here? The altar of whole burnt offerings. This is why it's a mystery, a sacred secret. So I don't blame people. Who's outside the city? Who was outside the city who was defiled? That were lawless? Or the shadow of, what's the lepers? Those that have touched a dead body. Those that have defiled the tabernacle of God, which is what? The human mind, the human body. What's the fire that cleansed these people? What's the fire that's going to cleanse them in the future? So we've identified the fire, right? The angel that has power over fire. The angels what? Will gather these people and cast them into the furnace of fire. So we have this angel, one angel with a sickle and another one with fire, the power over fire, right? We got two angels here. Came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. The angels will gather the tares, bind them in bundles, and burn them in the fire. Another angel came out from the altar who had power over fire, and he cried with a loud voice to him who had the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in your sickle. So he's identifying the fire. It's the bronze altar once again. As you see it there in the Greek. The bronze altar. what comes after that? The laver with living water in it. Lake of fire. A hidden truth, something that's so hard to figure out, it's almost incomprehensible. But only can be revealed through scriptures. I think it says that in here too. Anyways. Hidden truths refer to truths that are not known to man apart from God's special revelation in Scripture, the ancient writings. Lake of fire. Lake of fire. No one can come to me except through, no one can come to the Father except through me. And this square here, which is the New Jerusalem. The city of all this inside was layered with gold. The city was pure gold, right? The thing that has been is what will be. Who went outside once again? Hebrews 13, 10 through 12, around there. Right? We have an altar that those who serve the tabernacle have no right to eat from. For the bodies of those animals are burned, I'm just paraphrasing, outside the camp, outside the city. Let us go forth to him outside the gate. This represents the earth here. The court of the tabernacle. Common land people could enter here. They couldn't go here or here. Your dwelling will be here. God will wipe away all their tears, and they will serve him in his temple. Paraphrasing Revelation chapter 7, verses 9 through whatever. Sun will not strike them anymore. Heat. Wipe away their tears, and his servants will serve him in his temple. That's the reward of the first resurrection. Grapes are out here. The nations, right? Even in the kingdom, even in the eighth day, Revelation 21:22, you have the city and you have the nations outside. Thing that has been is what will be. Lake of fire. Let me just go here to this furnace here. Again, I'm not a Greek scholar. I should start learning, though, Greek. Koine Greek. Kam-e-nos. I've had no desire for learning knowledge the past month or so. I got to get back into this. Kam-e-nos, a furnace. Oven, a kiln. Furnace, either for smelting or for burning earthenware, like pottery, hardening pottery, or baking bread. It's not something for destruction. Smelting, extracting specific metals out of like ore or whatever. Kind of different than the crucible, but still a positive thing. Or for burning earthenware, like a potter's oven. Hey, while I'm at it, Isaiah 64. Notice verse 6. But we are all like an unclean thing, and all our righteousness is like filthy rags. We all fade as a leaf, and our iniquities, like the wind, have taken us away. Sounds like a bunch of filthy, rotten sinners that need to be burned up in the fire, right? Or tortured forever. And there is no one who calls on your name. No, there's no one who does good. No, not one. Who stirs himself up to take hold of you. For you have hidden your face from us. Look, man. Underneath all the doctrines, underneath all these religions, if you get into the Torah, what's he doing? He's allowing man, of course he's going to hold him accountable. We have a conscience. We have the Word. I mean, a lot of us do. But like in Romans chapter 1 and 2 and 3, I mean, you're going to be held accountable for what you know. For you have hidden your face from us and have consumed us. That word translated is melted because of our iniquities. Notice, but now, O Yahweh, you are our Father. We are the clay, and you are potter, and all we are the work of your hand. No doubt be furious, O Lord, nor remember iniquity forever. Indeed, please look, we are your people. Sounds like he's going to do something good for these sinners. No. Jeremiah chapter 18, hey, he went down to the potter, and he's looking at him making pottery at the wheel. He says, hey, can't I do what this guy's doing to you, O house of Israel? We've turned the Creator into a moron, to an idiot. Skyscrapers and buildings have safety codes and if fires break out, if this happens, that plans to rescue the people. I mean, you look at the Orthodox model of the gospel, man. I mean, we've reduced the Creator to a moron, an idiot, a buffoon. So the fire is identified. And if we go to Mark chapter 9, a review, Messiah identifies the fire. Of course, I did a video I can post also on Gehenna fire. It's a fable concocted by Jewish rabbis and sages. Verse 47, and if your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. It is better for you to enter the kingdom of God. Oh boy, mysteries of the kingdom, with one eye rather than having two eyes, to be cast into Gehenna fire, where their worm does not die. Well, I've identified their worm is the tola worm. It's in the ingredient. This worm is in the ingredient of the leper judgment outside the city, outside the camp, and the judgment of the one who has touched a dead body and defiled the tabernacle of God and sinned. The tola worm. And the fire is not quenched, for everyone will be seasoned with fire, and every sacrifice will be seasoned with salt. Once again, he has identified the fire. Nobody believes it, though. And you go back into Leviticus 6, verse 9 through 13. Use the Young's translation, best translation, one of the best. The fire on the altar must burn continually. It must not be quenched. That's the brazen or the bronze altar. The grapes put under the feet. Look at this picture here. I mean, doesn't that look like a lot of blood? I mean, Revelation 14, 18, 19, right? Blood out of the winepress. Right? You're going to trample the nations down. You're going to put the nations under your feet. You're going to put all enemies under your feet. Let's conclude here with good old 1 Corinthians 15, another allusion by the master of Torah, underneath the master of masters of Torah, Messiah, the illusion of the grape harvest. Right? But now Christ is risen from the dead and has become the first fruits. The first fruits of those who slept. The first of the first fruits. For since by man came death, Adam, by man also came the resurrection of the dead. For as in Adam all die, even so in Christ all shall be made alive, but each in his own order. Christ the first fruits, the barley, afterward those who are Christ at his coming, the wheat. Barley, Christ the first fruits, then those that are at his coming. Excuse me. Then comes the end, when he delivers the kingdom to God the Father, when he puts an end to all rule and authority and power. This is the ages of the ages, the last two great ages. Tabernacles in the 8th day, or the consummation of all the ages. When he puts an end to all rule and authority and power. For he must reign till he has put all enemies under his feet. Let me just... All right. The last enemy that will be destroyed is death. He went outside the camp, Day of Atonement, curse of the law, Passover, the bull, the goat of atonement, the bull for the priesthood, the goat for the common land people, not here yet. For he has put all things under his feet. But when he says all things are put under him, it is evident that he who put all things under him is accepted. And you had to be without spot or wrinkle, and you had to be an 8th day sacrifice. He's a spirit man now. Now, when all things are made subject to him, all things are made subject to him, even the demons and the Satan. Remember, his first coming was a type of the millennium. They would fall down and be in subject to him and his disciples. The disciples marveled at him when they, after they came back. They said, even the demons are subject to us in your name. The thing that has been is what will be. Then the Son himself, they were confessing, you're the Son of God. Right? Everything in heaven and earth will bow and confess. Then the Son himself will also be subject to him who put all things under him, that God may be all in all. So this is all you can see. Matthew 13, Deuteronomy 16, Matthew 13, 1 Corinthians 15, and you see this Revelation 14 and this fire that this angel has power over. Remember, the angels will gather the tares in bundles and burn them. And of course, the parable of the dragnet. I mean, if you have the proper translation, tells you where he got his doctrine. And he will throw the bad ones outside. Maybe I should just end with that. Let me go back to... what did I do? Matthew 13. Let's do the... let's do the disciples. I have this literal New Testament. Again, the kingdom will end on this one. Again, the kingdom of the heavens is like a dragnet, having been cast into the sea and having gathered fish of every kind, which when it was filled, having pulled it up on the shore, and having sat down, they collected the good ones into containers and threw the bad ones where? Outside. Where are these grapes trampled? Outside. Outside the city. Outside the camp. Revelation 22:15. But outside are dogs and sexually immoral and sorcerers and murderers. Paraphrasing. Lepers, those that are dead bodies. So it will be at the conclusion of the age. The angels will go forth, separate the evil ones out of the midst of the righteous ones, and they will throw them into the furnace of fire. Outside, where it's the fire identified as, the unquenchable fire. What fire was commanded never to be quenched? That Messiah tipped you back to in Mark 9. That the angel from the altar of burnt offering, of sacrifice, tips you also to. These are clues. These are part of the hidden truths. Of what? The kingdom. Priesthood. The verse 9, Revelation 20. The beloved city and camp of the saints. Priesthood, shadow and copy of the heavenly things. And then outside, the common land people, the grapes, coming. Not here yet. So thank you for your time and thank you for listening.